What's up, my brother? The meta right now is incredibly harsh when it comes to runners. Runners are absolutely cooked out here. It feels like every single new defender and attacker dropped lately was specifically designed to counter runners. But here's the thing, runners are still the absolute core of the team. You can get all the KOs you want, but if you aren't capping flags, you're losing. So today, we're breaking down the runners that are actually playable in this brutal meta right now. Some of these are top tier picks that can actually give you some wins, and some are just decent enough to help you survive the rat life. Okay, so before we dive in, just a quick heads up. This list is in no particular order, so there's no top 1, top 2, top something, but let's just dive into it. First up, let's talk about Gear 5 V2. Even though I think most runners are kind of sitting on the same level right now because of the meta, Gear 5 V2 is easily one of the best choices out there. Why? Because his utility is insane, still good. He can still hit incredibly hard for a runner. He can teleport across the map, and his biggest selling point, he can capture the flag from outside the treasure area. That trait alone makes him an absolute clutch runner in the final 30 seconds of a match. For his build, you want to give him full HP and attack and make sure you max out that capture speed. With the right setup, you can definitely survive out there. But don't get twisted, okay? Don't get me wrong. He isn't completely OP in my perspective. There are a ton of units that counter him hard in this meta, and if the enemy team knows what they're doing, Gear 5 V2 can be dealt pretty easily. But overall, still a top tier pick. Next up on the list is Sabo. Now, Sabo is low-key popping off right now, mostly because Kizaru is nowhere to be seen in League. Kizaru's absence opens up the field not just for Sabo but most of those runners out there, and Sabo is taking full advantage of it. One of the best things about Sabo right now is his ability to straight up one-tap meta unit like Zoro and Sanji. Well, sometimes I can one-tap them really. As a runner, being able to actually cook up top-tier combat units is a massive help for your team. Now let's talk about the medals. You need to run triple Sanji medal set on him. Why? Yeah, I know you have a question. Why this? Why that? Because Sabo captures painfully slow without max capture speed trait, really. Unlike Gear 5 V2 who can run a triple Luffy set and still cap a decent pace, Sabo demands that extra speed in my opinion. Go for HP and attack stats, slap on that max cap speed, and go do your job. He's not broken, but he gets the job done, okay? Moving on, we have Dog Q, and honestly, my brother, I'm genuinely amazed at how good this unit is in the current meta. He's not OP, okay? He's not busted. One of the rat unit out there. If you love playing like a pure rat, sneaking around the map, Dog Q is your guy. For his metal build, triple Sanji is once again the best pick because you want to maximize his capture speed, and I think that works for every runner out there. Now, he does have a pretty massive downside in my opinion. Dog Q cannot ignore the enemy to capture the flag. In today's meta, ignoring defender, or not just defender, but ignoring the enemy is usually what makes a runner top tier. Ignore the enemy and capture the flag, okay? But because of his status effects and slippery playstyle, he's still a very decent pick, even if he isn't the absolute best. Like, you can work with him, I promise. But it doesn't mean he's gonna cook up every single time, okay? Runner life is insanely hard right now. Next up is one of my personal favorites. It's Vegapunk. If you know how to build this character properly, he can absolutely clutch up matches. To make Vegapunk truly shine, you need to build a proper Baroque support tag. If you do that, you can constantly spam his skill 1 to teleport across the map and make the enemy team rage. But here's the tip. Triple Sanji is actually not the best option for Vegapunk. Instead, you want a metal set that focuses heavily on giving him a raw speed boost, or when popping that skill 1, you get that speed boost. Vegapunk needs that extra movement speed so he can outrun defenders. Well, not really. but he needs that to ignore the enemy and sneak those flags. Is he playable? Yes, but only if there is no Whitebeard, no Nuzje, and no BBV2 on the field. If you can avoid those monsters, Vegapunk cooks. He can still cook. He's definitely not for beginners though. Your map awareness needs to be on point. Let's talk about S-Shark. This guy was my absolute favorite during the Blackbeard V2 era. Capture speed is great on him, but he shares the same downside as Dog Q. He can't ignore the enemy to capture the treasure. However, his combat capability is pretty good though, in my opinion. He can straight up one-tap certain meta units like BBV2 if you can catch them off guard. Playing S-Shark in this meta is tough, and he is definitely not beginner friendly. You have to embrace the full rat lifestyle with this unit because he straight makes him invisible on the minimap. Use that to your advantage. Avoid head-on fights, ignore the brawlers, and just focus on capping flags when they aren't looking. Okay? Easy to say, but hard to do, 100%. Next up is Fuji. I still think Fuji is a surprisingly decent runner, but he requires a very specific setup. Just like Vegapunk, Fuji relies heavily on speed boost to ignore enemies and capture flags. So skip the triple Sanji set here. Go for a speed boost when you capture, when you pop skill 1 or whatever. Like, build around your speed boost, okay? It is absolutely going to be a tough uphill battle for Fuji out there, but he's decent if you know his secret technique. For the Fuji players out there, you know the trick. You start capturing a flag and then you intentionally dodge even no one is attacking you. Why? Just to pop that Meteor, get the knockdown on the defending enemy, and secure the flag. If you can master that rhythm, you have a chance, or otherwise Fuji's going to have a hard time. Next up, we've got Blueno. Blueno is pretty decent. Again, not OP and not the absolute best, but he can still clutch up games because of how naturally tanky he is. It's definitely a struggle for him in the current meta, but if you are a free-to-play player and Blueno is your only high level runner, level 60, you can definitely pop him into your party and yeah, can win some matches. For medals, you can either slap a triple Sanji set or a triple Law set on him. Focus on getting that skill 2 cooldown if you can, and max capture speed, and you are good to go. A very solid, dependable unit, but still, it can get cooked. I think that's the same scenario for every runners now. Moving on to King V1, and honestly, it feels like OPBR wants to cook up King V1 in this meta. They recently dropped Pika, and those skills look like a direct hard counter to King's flying mechanics and his accompanying effect. But luckily, Pika is absolutely nowhere to be found because, let's be real, Pika is kind of bad, you know. So that's a huge win for King in my opinion. But for King, you can comfortably run triple Sanji or triple Law middle set on him. The hardest part about playing King V1 right now is dealing with characters that have multi-hit attacks and skills, of course, which instantly taking off his accompanying effect. When you're playing King, your perfect dodges and needs to be absolutely on point. If your reaction time is good, he's still a very high value pick in my opinion. But again, there's a lot of multi-hit units right now, but King is still good though. Next up is Reiju, and let me get straight to the point. Do not rely on Reiju as your primary main runner. You still need a dedicated capper on your team, or yeah, you are running 2 runners at least. Reiju functions way better as a support unit who can clutch if the enemies get cooked. You know what I mean? It's hard for Reiju to just stand there, tank hits while capping in this meta because of the multi-hit units and characters that deal increased damage against runners. However, her support game is top tier in my opinion. Her skill 1 is still terrifyingly deadly. You can straight one-tap some unit with that skill 1 and use her skill 2 to shield and protect your core runner. That's the kind of teamwork that wins games. And she's incredibly fun to play in my opinion. Then of course, we have the king of running away, Roger V2. Even with all the updates, he's still one of the best pick out there. The beautiful beautiful thing about Roger V2 is his flexibility. You can build him for full skill to cooldown, or you can go max cap speed on him. It honestly doesn't even matter. As long as you have a good support percentage or tags and stats on your Roger V2, he can survive. Now, that doesn't mean he has no counters. In fact, there are so many counters built to stop him, okay? And like I said, life is hard for runners. But if your map awareness is on point and you play smart, Roger V2 can still completely dominate and clutch matches. Alright, I'm putting Lucci on this list, but we need to have a serious chat about him. If you are going into a match intending to play Lucci as a pure runner, my brother, he's not him. Instead, the playstyle with Lucci is to play him strictly as an attacker first. Go out there, cook up the enemy defenders, clear the space, and then capture. He's a decent pick in the meta, and he definitely has his moments in my opinion, but he's pretty easy to deal with. He has a lot of counters right now, but I honestly have a feeling his buff is coming soon, so keep an eye on him. Next up is EX-Law, who historically has been one of the greatest runners in OPBR. But honestly, thank goodness the EX-Law era is finally over. Now that Gear 5 V2 is back and prominent in the league, EX-Law is way easier to deal with because Gear 5 V2 will straight up cook him alive and eat him alive. But don't count him out just yet, okay? EX-Law is still an incredible pick if you actually know how to manage his skills properly. Slap the right stats and a solid mill set on him and you can still put up a massive fight. He's just not completely brain dead and OP anymore, which is honestly healthy for the game. He is manageable, to be honest. Now, for a massive surprise, Egghead Jimbei is out here absolutely cooking again in League. Jimbei has a crazy trait where he can completely ignore the enemy and capture the treasure as long as his HP is 70% or higher. Because of this, you want to build him with maximum HP and defense. You need to be as beefy as possible or tanky as possible so you can sit on that flag and laugh while they hit you. Max capture speed is obviously great on him. To be honest, I'm having a hard time stopping Egghead Jimbei with a max capture speed and good stats. It's so hard, really. He's a very good unit in this meta, and honestly it feels like half the player base forgot how to counter him. A lot of defenders have a terrible time dealing with him though, but if there's an attacker like Garp or other attacker, even a Kainu though can just cook up this Jimbei right here. But overall, he's a very good runner. Next up is Niji. He's still a very solid pick if you want to play like a complete rat. OPBR gave him a character adjustment recently, and honestly it feels like they didn't even change anything. It's the same. But surprisingly, just like Jimbei, Niji is holding his own perfectly fine in the current meta. Again, the environment is super hostile for runners, so you are going to have to sweat a bit to get those wins. But Niji has the tools to make it happen if you're gonna play sneaky though, but still manageable. And finally, the last one on our list, Runner Kaido. Still good, still viable, and if you play like an absolute rat, this unit is a certified solid gold pick. Slap a triple Sanji mill set on him, build up your battle works support for that sweet skill cooldown, and you can just teleport across the map and steal flags all day long. He works perfectly fine in the meta in my opinion, but just like every other runner we talk about today, he has tons of counters. If you get caught out of poison and get countered, then he's done, really. Those are the runners that are actually good and decent enough to survive in this crazy meta. Some of them are definitely going to have a harder time than others, but yeah, that is just the runner life right now. Welcome to getting one tap and cook every single game though. But remember, the most important rule of OPBR, this is a 4v4 team game. Even if you go crazy and single-handedly capture 11 flags in a single match, that doesn't mean you are going to win. You still need your teammates to actually perform, and you need someone to defend those flags you just capped. So at the end of the day, Just have fun. Pick the units that you actually enjoy playing and stick with the ones you are good at. It is way better to have fun with your favorite characters than to desperately swap to a new character every single time you lose a match. But hey, that's just my take, and let me know in the comments who your go-to runner is right now. Well, that's it for this video, my brother. You know the drill. Stay salty and stay awesome, and salty rock. Now signing off.